So I'm going to introduce our first speaker, who's Angelique Nixon. Angelique is both poet and academic and activist. She works, her academic work is well known, and her book, Resisting Paradise. Sorry, I just changed the title there. Resisting Paradise. I was on the right line. Will be out next year? Soonish. She's a board member of the Caribbean International Resource Network, and also has been involved in activism all around the Caribbean, including Haiti. And her first book of poems, Saltwater Healing, has recently been published. I'm afraid to say that we don't have any copies for sale because she sold them all straight away. It's a complete sellout, so it's very enticing for us to hear from it. And for her, it's a very beautiful publication. And I've already added my voice to the campaign for a reprint, but maybe some of you can join in as well. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Again, thank you so much, Allison. Thank you so much, Crystal. Thank you so much, everyone with IUDS. It's been so amazing to be here for the past week. And so I'm going to just read a few pieces for you, some from my book, Saltwater Healing, and some others. Before I start, I usually like to do a little opening when I do a reading, and so I'm just going to jump right in to kind of welcome us into a poetry space or storytelling space. I am woman, black, feminist, Caribbean, and queer. I've been womanish long time, and so I dare to imagine a world where people of color can be human and free. I dream revolution and liberation, sexually, spiritually, and radically. I come from working class struggle. I come from mummies and grandmas and aunties who worked hard to make sure I could do things they couldn't. And I work extra hard to make it happen for myself and for those who sacrificed for me and before me. I open this reading by giving thanks to the ancestors and spirits, to the goddess Oshun for reminding us to love, and to all of you for sharing this circle of stories with me. And so I'm going to start with a piece that is very much grounded in how I define my sexuality, but that my sexuality is not singular. It's tied to all of the different parts of me. And I wrote this in response to what are you, because I get that a lot. And so this is called Birth of Sistela Black. And I should say I come from the Bahamas, but I identify as a Caribbean person. My great-grandparents on my maternal side actually migrated from Trinidad, Port of Spain, to Anagua, which is the southernmost island in the Bahamas, and then ended up in Baintown in Nassau. So that's a little bit about me. On my father's side, I have Chinese from Jamaica, and white and black and all kinds of mixtures in between. So a little bit about me. But I identify as black, and there's a lot of reasons why. And so this piece is exploring that, but also exploring how I identify sexually. The question, then the stare. I begin with a smile and exhale, because maybe you just see a tattooed freak or a racially ambiguous ethnic something or other, but what happens when you hear me speak or discover I'm a learned woman? Do I become more than my marked immigrant colored body? I am female-bodied, human, gendered she, light-skinned, multiracial black, Caribbean-born, raised up in Faya. I am granddaughter of Maybelle, Sistela Charles, and Viola Nixon. I am great-granddaughters of Mamas Willoughby, Awilda Black, and Mary Burroughs Lee. I am daughter of Kim Grace Louise Howard. I am a reflection of my ancestors, especially the ones I never met in the flesh. I am golden light in accents, yellow, brown, red, and black. I'm the color that makes some feel safe. I'm the underbelly of shame and desire of what you do not remember. I'm hypervisible, yet you do not see me. I'm coming out and up for air every day. I am the flip side, the pink of a conch shell, the layers you pull open only to discover what is silent. I'm what you can't ignore any longer. I'm the product of colonial mishaps and inconvenient, no other choice, sexual relations. I am sister soldier in the struggle, rocking your world, disrupting your imagination, fueling your fantasies. I am remaking and renaming myself. I am Cicella Black. Subversive cosmic warrior being I may incite. I have carved on my skin lineage of meanings of who I am, making you see me. I've studied and read, written and learned, shared and transformed by transforming knowledges. I am light and love manifesting conscious vibration. I am blessed, opportunities grasped and ridden high. I am all that I dream of being, sexy and spirit-centered. I'm evolving and growing, the storm of revolution. I am sister and daughter of the earth, orange moon goddess under sunscape showers, communing with forests and troubled, sweet waters. I am what makes you feel discomfort. Healing, violence, fire, creation, spirit, bless. I am years of education. I'm questioning, critical, idealistic, cynical, hopeful even when there is none. I am same-sex loving, bisexual, and queer. I'm freak nasty, vibrating on high polyrhythmic frequencies. I am love, dancing and fucking under a wolf's full moon, sister to the night's warm, healing touch. I am daughter of Oshun, reflecting Erzuli. I am stargazing, moon-worshipping, night-loving conjure woman. I am wrapped in histories and herstories of my people, never forgetting where I come from. I have done things to get here you will never understand. I am dark and dangerous, loving and creating in spite of you, holding the earth, humanity's elements, spirits close to me. I'm going to read a couple poems from my collection. This one's called Delicate Nature. As I said, coming from the Bahamas, I worked in tourism and banking for a long time before I started my whole career in academia, and even while I was doing that, starting in college, and I've worked in bars for a really long time, and so probably about 7 years on and off bartending. In tourism, bars generally, or touristic bars, I should say. So this poem came out of that, I think, and me thinking about how the Caribbean as a space sort of served up in a lot of ways, and also how bodies are sort of factored into that equation. Delicate nature. Run away, turn away, but you can't hide from what they see. You can't hide from the obvious features of the face, distinctions of grace. Now that we are hip and cool, trendy and tasty. Look through broken glass, never staring at the crack, spackle holding it together, fallen pieces, missing mirror. What do you see? Sex and gold, lust and paradise, passion fruit, coconut trees, cascading falls, ocean breeze across white sand, flamingos on deserted beaches. Out of need to make a living, royal subjects still pleasing the crown, tending, serving those generous enough to visit our shores, generous enough to spread their dollars, diseases. Will this illusion last? Is that what you see? Well, you don't want me, you just want that. Body, skin, touch, smell of the fantasy you place on me. Oh yes, let me guess. You think I'm exotic. You like the islands. You find me erotic. Tasting Julie mango skin, touching dark, lustrous hair, teasing sensuous lips you dream about but can never truly have. What you perceive of is wild and willing, ravenous and flaming, crazy even. You miss the garden, you miss the truth. This is called I Am am, we are silent no more. And I start with an epigraph by Audre Lorde, who's been a huge influence of mine and so many others. And I pull from one of her essays. When we speak, we're afraid our words will not be heard or welcomed, but when we are silent, we are still afraid. And so this poem is really thinking about myself as a migrant Caribbean person living abroad, and then also reconnecting and thinking about home in this complicated way, and thinking about as migrants, especially living in a place like Florida. I lived in South Florida for many years, and then also living in New York. There's a sense of a Caribbeanness. We're wondering, well, what does that really mean, and what does that unity look like, and what does that then do to our sense of being Caribbean in the space itself? And so this came out of that, and thinking about who is included in that definition, and going home and experiencing what it's like to be home and be out in visible ways and doing certain kinds of activism and sharing my poetry in the Bahamas about same-sex loving relationships and how I was treated as a result. So this came out of that. We are home, we are migrants, we are born on islands and lands touching the Caribbean Sea, mixing Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. We're born away in foreign. We're hyphenated abroad, crying from London to Toronto and Miami to Brooklyn. Some of us can leave. Some of us can't. Some of us don't want to leave. Some of us have to leave. Some of us return home. Some of us don't. Some of us can't return, though we dream. We come from different backgrounds and places. We're spiritually religious, but some of us are spiritually driven. We have built bridges overseas with cardboard and duct tape. We've invented languages out of clashes and drums. We've culled families out of many races and mixtures in between. We are many cultures, many languages, many people. We accept each other. Do we? We celebrate and love deep. We cry and laugh loud. We are oceans of highs and lows. We are people rippling beyond inside home, but we are not all the same. So when you cut your eye at me, turn your back or raise your fist in hate, rejecting my body, when you see my female hands touching her shoulders, my fingers lingering along her back a second too long. You already heard stories about me, my lifestyle. You suck teeth and shout, "Sissy!" Remember, I told you I love you anyway. I hold open your eyes with my pen's light. I embrace your fists with my third eye's alliance. I don't threaten you. I don't hate you. Some of us are not straight. Some of us are queer. Some of us are gay and lesbian. Some of us are bisexual. Some of us are same-sex loving. Some of us are transgendered and gender-defying. We can be silent no longer about all that we are. We can be silent no longer about all that we are not. And the in-betweens trouble boundaries. These must be spoken. And so I'm going to end with something sexy because, wow, we should do that. We should have some sex in there too. So I was really homesick, and I was living in Florida at the time, and I bought plenty mango, and I decided I was just going to eat all of them until I felt better. And then as I was eating these mangoes, it came to me suddenly, wow, this is an awful lot like something that will be very apparent. And at the time, I was really exploring my sexuality. I started dating women. I predominantly dated men before that, and I started dating women, and so it all happened around the same time, and this poem came out of that. It's called Ripe Mango. My teeth penetrate like a knife, peeling back the cover to your insides. I begin to taste you, juices flowing, sweetness running into my mouth. Overwhelming flashes of time past, young days on Sunday's beach, saltwater sand tickling me. yesterday and today, of tasting you, of smelling you. The scent of your skin lingers in my nostrils, nectarous, as I work my way into your flesh. Sucking, licking, swallowing as your juices slide down my fingers, I ignore the messiness, conquering you. Arriving at your core, I take my time, holding and caressing before I begin finishing the last few bites. I hold you carefully, enjoying my tongue's pleasure of sweet delight. Your hair disheveled from my touch, your skin torn from my teeth, your fruit eaten, your juice drunk. I am full of you. As I stare at your seed, power to bring life, power to grow another, power to make us feel free and alive in that moment of sharing your body, your fruit, your womb. Thank you.